Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level reading lesson, and today we're going to be talking about the American Revolution. So why do people in these two countries speak the same language, the United States and Great Britain? Well, the United States started as a set of 13 colonies that were the colonies of Great Britain. The British speak English, and so the Americans who settled these colonies basically immigrated from Great Britain, and so they also spoke English. So, do Great Britain and the United States have the same kind of government? Well, it's not exactly the same. In the US, we have a president, a Supreme Court, and the Congress. In Great Britain, they have a parliament and a prime minister, but they also have a king. The king doesn't really have much political power these days, but he is still kind of a symbol of government or leadership in Great Britain. All right, so we're going to look at some vocabulary words, and then we'll read a selection on the American Revolution, and then answer some questions. So first, to start with the vocabulary words, a colony is a city or region which a country owns in a different part of the world. A colonist is someone who lives in a colony. A revolution is a complete change in the system of government, and the founding is the beginning of a country or of a company or organization. Now, for the reading selection, you can either pause the video and read on your own or follow along as I read. In the 18th century, Great Britain had colonies in North America. The colonists had many disagreements with the British government and the British King, George III. 13 of the colonies fought a war to become independent from Britain. This Revolutionary War took place from 1775 to 1783 and led to the founding of the United States of America. Now, to rebel is to fight against your own government. A tax is money that everyone needs to pay the government. To vote is to choose the leaders of your government. Rebellion of the 13 colonies. The 13 colonies which rebelled against Britain were Delaware, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, New Hampshire, New York, and Rhode Island. The colonists rebelled because they were not represented in the British government. The British government was making new laws and taxes on the colonies, but the colonies were not allowed to vote on those laws. The colonists wanted to be able to vote on these laws, and they did not want to pay high taxes if they could not vote. Goods are products you buy from a store. Harbor is a place where many ships stop so that people can get on and off. And a protest when many people gather together to say that they are unhappy about the government. Boycott. The colonies were small, and they needed to buy all kinds of goods from Great Britain. These products were sent by ship. The colonists were so unhappy that they decided not to buy goods from the British. The colonists stopped buying British tea, clothes, glass, paper, and other products. Many Americans began to drink coffee instead of tea. In 1773, some colonists went onto a British ship in Boston Harbor and threw all the boxes of tea into the ocean. This was a protest called the Boston Tea Party. Each colony had its own local government. In 1774, the colonies voted for leaders to represent them at the First Continental Congress. This was the first time that the 13 colonies tried to make their own government. Right away means immediately. To reject is the opposite of to accept. And unfair is helping some people more than other people. The War of Independence. War didn't happen right away. First, there were protests and arguments. Then there were some small fights between the colonists and the local British army. The situation got worse until the colonies in Britain were at war. In 1775, Not all of the colonists wanted to be independent. About a quarter of the settlers decided to support Britain. George Washington was the head of the army of the new country, the United States of America. On July 4th, 1776, the United States published the Declaration of Independence. This document complained about the actions of the British government and King George III and stated that everyone has the right to reject an unfair government. It also stated that all men are equal. A weapon is a tool for fighting. A democracy is a system of government in which each person can vote. The end of the war. Excuse me. But then the British government sent many more soldiers to fight against the colonists. The United States started to lose the war and asked the French king for help. In 1777, the French Navy sent lots of weapons to the United States Army. Spain and the Netherlands also decided to help the colonists. By 1781, the United States had won several big battles. In October, the British Army surrendered to George Washington. That was the end of the Revolutionary War. The new government of the United States was different from the government of Britain. The Americans decided that they didn't want a king. They wanted a democratic government with leaders elected by the people. No one could become king, but George Washington became the first president. Today, the original 13 colonies are states. In total, there are now 50 states in the United States. All right, so you can answer these questions, true or false, to see how much you remember from the reading. You can pause the video and try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to see the answers. So at the time of the Revolutionary War, Charles III was king of Great Britain. Well, that's false. Charles III is the king now. It was George III during the Revolutionary War. The Declaration of Independence was published in 1776. That's true. The famous Tea Party protest took place in New York. That's false. It was Boston. And George Washington was the head of the army which fought the British. That is true. All right, now choose the correct word for each sentence. You can pause the video, again, try that on your own, and then restart to check your answers. The United States was originally formed from 13 colonies. Soldiers usually carry weapons. The colonists were unhappy that they had to pay so many taxes. Britain sent many goods to America by ship. So why were the colonists so unhappy with the British government? And do you think they were right to fight for their independence? It's just kind of an opinion question, really. The second one, no right or wrong. And these are some other things to think about. What is the system of government in your country? Can everyone vote? Do people sometimes protest when they are unhappy with the government? And is there a king or queen? And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.